What's going on, everyone? Eric here. Hope you're all doing good today. In this video, we're going to go over espresso tools. So we're going to go over the tools that might make your job a little bit easier. As usual, I'm going to ask you for maybe a like, maybe a subscribe, maybe a little comment if this video is helpful to you. Helps me out a lot. I'm trying to grow this YouTube thing and I'm trying to make a living on it. That's not really your problem, but I just wanted to let you know that that does help me out. So if I helped you, you can help me, help you, help me, help you, help me. Cool. All right, so let's go over espresso tools. So we have the espresso machine, we have a grinder, we have a scale, we have hopefully a basket that is not pressurized, meaning that it has lots of little holes on the bottom and in the front, not just one little hole in the bottom, but lots of little holes because we're talking about making true espresso in these videos. So I'm assuming, of course, that you also have a tamper that came with the machine, and that's the essentials. Those are the things you absolutely need. You do not need anything else. Anything else I talk about in this video is just going to be helpful things, things that will make your job a little bit easier, maybe make your job a little more consistent. Your job, of course, is to make delicious espresso drinks, right? Cool. If you've been watching Instagram Reels or TikTok or YouTube Shorts about espresso, you've probably seen people have all this kind of crazy gear and fun tools and make a big production about making their espresso. You've probably seen a lot of matte black accessories. And yeah, some of those are useful, but some of them are superfluous. Some of them are unnecessary. I mean, some of them are just wacky and I wouldn't even know where to put that in my kitchen when I'm not actually using it. So we're gonna just talk about the things that actually make your job easier and give you a more consistent shot of espresso, right? Okay, so the first one would be a calibrated tamper. So most entry-level espresso machines will come with a little plastic tamper. Some of them come with better ones, but they'll come with some kind of tamper, and it's your job to manually make sure that that is compacted enough and flat as possible. It's actually not as easy as it looks, and sometimes, you know, those things can get a little crooked, and that will affect your espresso, because the name of the game in espresso is to make everything consistent and even, and everything without any variables in that grind that's in here, because we want the water to go through even. We want everything to get extracted even. We want even espresso, because if we see the espresso coming out faster on this side than on this side, we know our tamp is a little canted, a little crooked, and it's a frustrating experience, right? Thankfully, things have fast forwarded to now and things are a lot easier. Calibrated tamper is essentially a tamper that has a little collar on the outside with a spring built in. And the ones that are truly calibrated are calibrated so that when you press down to a certain amount of pressure, a spring inside will not allow you to push any further. Some of them will make a sound like that, and some of them that aren't actually calibrated to that pressure won't. But the point is, they are very, very useful. They're very, very helpful because they will sit on there and they will not allow you to be crooked. And that is a big deal. Calibrated tamper. And there's basically two main styles. There are the traditional tampers like this, which will go in here and then you will press down and boom, you've got a straight flat tamp. And then there are palm tampers. Now, palm tampers are ones that I worked with a lot, especially in the beginning of my home espresso days. I like them, I find them charming. You will manually adjust the depth of where you want it to be by screwing it or unscrewing it. Once you find a spot that works for you, works for your basket, then you are sitting pretty and you just put it on there and then you just push down with your palm. Boom. That is two styles of tampers that will make your tamp flat, make your tamp consistent, and make your espresso flow more evenly. You might see some of them have ridges on the bottom of it like this one, and some of them don't. That doesn't matter. That's kind of a gimmick. It just looks nice. You don't have to worry about that. Another tool that is helpful, not necessary, but helpful is, in fact, if I was going to skip any of these that I talk about, it might be this one, is a groomer. Now, a groomer is just basically a little, it either has like a propeller kind of look or a little curved wedge kind of look. And what you're going to do is you're going to distribute your espresso. Now, in my video about espresso basics, about learning to dial in, I talk about doing the bump, a bump, bump, a bump to get everything nice and even. That is important. You still want to do that. But if you want to make sure everything is distributed a little bit more evenly, a wedge tamper, one with an adjustable depth, hopefully, if you get really into the nerdy stuff, you might want that eventually, but it's just gonna go on there and it's gonna spin and it's gonna smooth everything out before you tamp. So you would do that, You'd spin it a couple times gently, take it out, and then you would do your tamp. Boom, nice level shot. The palm tamper that I mentioned before, the ones that I like, and the reason I like them is because I don't actually like having a lot of stuff around in my kitchen. I don't really love it. Is that these will sometimes, if you get the right ones, have a distributor on one side and a tamper on the other side. So you can distribute, whoop, 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 and then flip it over and tamp. So there you go. That is that. Okay, the next tool that is going to make your job easier in the world of espresso is a little collar here, shot collar, shot funnel, portafilter collar, portafilter funnel, whatever you want to call them. It's something that just goes on here. Now, they're not all created equal. Some of them don't leave a little divot in the side of your espresso, and some of them do. Honestly, I think at this stage of the game, that is, especially if you're going to distribute afterwards, if you're going to make sure everything's nice and flat afterwards, not too big of a deal. They are useful because when you are grinding into your portafilter, if you grind directly into it, if you have enough clearance on your grinder, this will give you a lot more room, make things less messy. Another thing that is good about it is when we get into the next tool that you might want, that this will make that job easier as well. So that is called a shot collar, and that is one of the ones that is not essential, but makes your job less messy and makes it a little bit easier. This is a tool that I do recommend highly, and that is something to break up the clumps in your espresso. You might think like, well, I'm tamping it hard. The clumps, you know, what's the difference? The clumps do make a difference. Smarter people than me have done tests, and they found, you know, if you don't distribute your espresso grinds, if you don't break up the clumps, then you're gonna have a less even extraction. Now we're getting into like, you know, the nitty gritty, but if I would say that it's definitely will make your job less frustrating, and it will make your espresso look nicer when it's coming out of the bottom of that portafilter if you have some kind of way to break up the clumps and make sure that everything is even. Now, one of the ways to do that is to use a blind shaker, essentially putting it into a cup or something. Usually there's an agitator in there, and the ones that are fancy will have a lid and will fit directly onto your portafilter. And then you shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. Everything gets all fluffed up, all the clumps hopefully break up, and then you would boop, boop. All right, that is an option, but those are generally a little bit more expensive. Another tool you could get is a WDT tool. These are waste distribution tools. They are just a little bunch of wires. Sometimes they make them real sharp and they don't need to, but all they're gonna do is you're gonna whoop, whoop, whoop. You're gonna stir up your espresso with this, and you're gonna just really get in there, break up all those clumps, stir it up as long as you want to. The longer the better. Make sure everything is nice and distributed and all the clumps are broken up. And these are extremely affordable. In fact, some of the stuff you're going to be able to find all in one kit. The only difference between these as they change in prices or change in qualities, one might be like this is an extremely affordable one that I usually link in my affiliate links just because I'm trying to get people into this stuff without breaking the bank. But this guy right here, it comes with a kind of a cheap pressed wood holder. This isn't very heavy, so that's one negative. It might fall over, but it works fine. And it has the needles here, and it's gonna break up the clumps, and I use it almost every day. Some of the little bit higher end ones are gonna give you a heavier base, maybe a metal handle instead of a cheap fake wood one, and they're gonna give you a little bit stiffer of a needle. And this is the thing is you're gonna be able to, they're gonna usually come with some backup needles to replace the ones if any of these get bent. And so it is a better built product that is going to last a little bit longer in the long run, but is it really, really worth the price? That's really up to you. They all work the same. In fact, you can make your own with some pins and a cork. A very, very simple device to make if you don't want to buy your own. All right, where we are right now is you would take your portafilter, you'd put on your collar, you'd add your espresso grind into here, you'd break up those clumps, break, 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 and you'd then take that off. You distribute those grinds, distribute, distribute, distribute. Then you take your tamper and you would tamp it down, right? There you go. The things that I'm gonna get into now are a little bit less essential, but just some things that are maybe nice to have, right? A lot of espresso machines, especially entry-level ones, just because of the way that the internal pressure valve system works, tend to get real dirty here on the shower screen where the water is distributed. Now, this is something you've probably seen a lot of people use on their espresso. This is called a puck screen. They are 100% not necessary. They do help in a couple ways. One is if your shower head is not distributing water so uniform, then a very thin, nicer puck screen like this that has a kind of designed to distribute water a little bit more evenly will help with that. But I do feel like they're not necessary. Like I said, it's just helpful. The real thing that these help with is if you're a clean freak, if you don't like looking under here and seeing espresso caked up under here, and you don't want to deal with that, and you don't want to be, doing as much wiping down and cleaning up, the nice thing is that these will just go on top of your puck and they will make this less dirty. There will be less big grinds. Now you still are going to want to flush out your group head after every shot. Make sure you get all that, any dirty water that might be stuck up in here out, but there'll be less to wipe off. So puck screen, not necessary. 9 times out of 10 doesn't do anything for your espresso quality, but keeps things a lot neater. All right. Now, as far as your mise en place, as far as your arrangement, how things are on your counter when you're doing your stuff, you may see a lot of fancy tamping station, tamping places with everything has a place. I bought mine off somebody on Facebook Marketplace. So a tamping station, completely unnecessary, but you might want to get some kind of silicone pad or something to put on your countertop to keep yourself from marring up your counters, keep yourself from getting things scratches on there, because especially the ones with the ears on the bottom of a portafilter will scratch things up. Now you don't need that, you can just use a towel, but if you just like having a dedicated space, that is why people have those on their countertops, is to keep things from scratching up. All right, another thing that will make your job a lot less messy is a knock box. They're all the same. They're just different sizes and different levels of fancy. This one is a Breville one that one of my many machines I've tested have come with. And when you are done making your espresso, if you don't have a knock box, you could knock out your puck on the inside of your garbage can. That's totally fine. You could knock it on top of a towel. That's totally fine. Whatever works for you. No need to buy extra stuff. But if you have one of these, you can give it a good knock on the knock box and the puck should fall out, and then you can get through maybe a few days without having to worry about that. Or you save your grinds, and they're good for gardening. They're good for adding to your soil and certain plants. So that's good. All right, cool. Talking about portafilters now, you have probably seen in every single video you've ever watched, everyone has a portafilter like this, a bottomless portafilter. They will show you your extraction. You can see that cool looking espresso coming out. Is that essential? Does that make your espresso better? Heck no. It doesn't do anything. It just gives you a visual feedback. And a lot of people like that visual feedback because you can see how your espresso is flowing. You can see if things are evenly distributed. You can see, hey, it's coming out more over here, it's coming out more over here, or it's coming out the middle. Whatever. The thing is, the actual portafilter, the only thing it does is give you a visual feedback. Now, most of the ones that you come with, that you get, will have ears on the bottom, right? So it's usually designed in the original world of espresso before people drank as many double shots, because traditionally shots weren't as concentrated as they are now, is you catch a shot on either side, boom, you got 2 shots. A lot of people just do it into one vessel now because most people like to drink a double shot. A cool thing about these is that if they're flowing out more to one side than the other, you do kind of generally know one of 2 things. Either your distribution is not up to snuff or your espresso machine is not level. That's your countertop might be canted a little bit. Just know that it's not always your distribution. Get a little level put on top there. But anyway, portafilter itself, they are more or less all the same. There are a couple things you could think about when buying a portafilter, like the metal that it's made out of. Some of the cheaper ones are made out of aluminum. Aluminum ones, not everyone likes it. I can tell you the heat retention is not as good as some different materials. Some of the nicer ones are going to be made out of either stainless steel or brass, which will give you a nice heat retention, but you do have to warm them up really good first because they also will stay cold longer. So keep that in mind, that the bottomless portafilter is just an extra little accessory and you don't necessarily need it, but it's just something that looks fancy and gives you a visual feedback. One good thing about a bottomless portafilter is that you generally can fit any basket you like inside of them. And this is the last tool I'm going to really tell you about. And this is one that I recommend getting as you advance. A precision portafilter basket means that they have designed the basket in a way that all the holes are going to be either extremely uniform, meaning the size of the hole in every single one is exactly the same, so that is a factor you don't have to worry about as the espresso gets pushed through. Now you might say, how could that make a difference? Well, smarter people than me have checked it out, and it does make a difference because your water is lazy, likes to go other places, likes to go the easiest route, and you won't get quite as even of an extraction. If you're a straight espresso drinker and you drink your shots straight, it is something that I do recommend getting eventually. No rush to get it though. The thing about all these things that you want to know is you want to know the size of your portafilter. Generally, there's 3 sizes, roughly 51 millimeter. The next size would be a roughly 54 millimeter. And then of course there are the more industry standard ones, the ones that for a long time were coffee nerds' favorites, 58 millimeters. So just make sure if you're buying any accessories that you pick the right size, either 51, 54, or 58 millimeters. All right, so summing things up, the most essential tools to giving you an easier experience when it comes to espresso. The 2 that I would absolutely recommend to make your job easier would be some form of calibrated tamper and a WDT tool. Then, if we're going crazy, if we're buying more stuff, I would get a shot collar or a portafilter collar or whatever you want to call it, and I would get some form of distribution tool. Like I said, you can get a palm tamper, and then that's a 2-in-1 kind of scenario. After that, if I was going crazy and if I was a clean freak, I would say puck screen. Just get a real thin one and one that hopefully helps the distribution, a little bit of water. And finally, if I was going full hog, I would get a precision basket because they do help. Anyway, these other tools are just organizational tools that make cleanup and tamping and all that stuff easier. You will probably like them, but we're talking about the essentials right now. So there you go. I hope that wasn't too much. I hope that I broke it down in a way that makes sense in what they do. And in the next video, we're gonna put some of the stuff to use and we're gonna talk about the different ratios of espresso. So tune in for that one in the very, very near future. If I've already made it, then it's up here somewhere. Just a heads up, anything that I talk about in this video, I'm going to try to link down below in the affiliate links. Just be careful, make sure you get the right sizes, make sure you take a look at the sizes of things because you don't want to be getting the wrong thing and have to send it back, and that's super frustrating. So that's on you. What I'll do is most affordable and then a slightly better option for each of these things. Cool? Cool. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your time. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.